ever since Donald Trump selected JD Vance to be his running mate, there has been huge backlash all over the internet and from elected officials, celebrities, and just my friends and family. People do not like JD Vance, and it is for good reason. It's not just the things that he said in his nomination speech. It's not just the things he said on the campaign trail, but resurfaced clips of JD Vance are popping up all across the internet, showing the things that he's said in the past, his policy positions, which are just really, really strange. And every clip that's resurfaced, it seems like he can't be a weirder or more unattractive person, but he is. He just comes off so poorly, and all of his policy positions are so bad that he is being absolutely crushed online. And for one specific statement he said, that is, Democrats and the Democratic Party is run by childless cat ladies. Yes, that's what he said, which I find strange for a couple of reasons. One, because attacks on people's lifestyles are just never right. Two, that's not true. And three, I find it so funny that Republicans claim to be the party of freedom, but they want to control every aspect of everyone's life. And if you don't live the conventional lifestyle that they approve of, they come after you and attack you for no good reason. And so, yes, there has been a lot of blowback to JD Vance, and a lot of it has been really funny from celebrities and elected officials. But one of my favorite celebrity responses came from comedian and actress Chelsea Handler, who had this to say about JD Vance in a mega viral clip. Let's check it out.
Oh, hey! As you might have heard, Donald Trump's running mate and future star of his own Dateline episode, JD Vance, is ruffling quite a few feathers this week.
We're effectively run in this country by a bunch of childless cat ladies. Who look at Kamala Harris, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children.
Listen up, you wingnut elegy. This country is still controlled by men in systems that were set up by men that are carefully crafted to continue to benefit men. So to put it in women-hating terms, you'll understand you're being hysterical. But let's be clear, there's no correlation between childless people and the presidency. For example, our very first United States president, Mr. George Washington, didn't have children. In fact, he had 2 stepchildren. That's right, just like someone else I know. And to your point about Kamala not being fit because she's not a mother, I'd like to remind you that no president in the history of the United States has ever been a mother. But maybe if she had 5 kids with 3 different men and a scandalous affair with a porn star and was convicted felon, that would be more palatable to Republican men. I mean, my God, are we tired? You sad, diet, Mountain Dew drinking, couch humping, dolphin porn aficionado, all of us childless cat and dog ladies are going to go from childless and crushing it to childless and crushing you in November. And before you tell me he didn't really a couch, spare me. I grew up in New Jersey in the 80s where everyone had a couch in their basement, and I know a couch when I see one.
I absolutely love invoking the founding fathers and talking about how George Washington did not have children of his own. Doesn't mean he wasn't a great president. Every president since George Washington has not been a mother because they've all been men. And so why would that keep Kamala Harris back from being a successful president? All these attacks from Republicans sound so stupid coming out of their mouths, of course, but also when you repeat them and think about them for just half a second. So that's why I love that clip from Chelsea Handler, but she is not the only one absolutely taking down JD Vance for this comment. Good friend of the show, Pete Buttigieg, had this to say, and I think it was just so perfect.
This answer that JD Vance gave a few years ago, and he name dropped you in it about people who don't have children working in the government. This is what he said.
It's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it?
Now, I should note you have 2 children. They were born before Pete gave that answer. Harris is also a stepmom to children as well. But what's your response to that?
The really sad thing is he said that after Chasten and I had been through a fairly heartbreaking setback in our adoption journey. He couldn't have known that, but maybe that's why you shouldn't be talking about other people's children. And it's not about his kids or my kids or the vice president's family. It's about your family, people's families whose well-being will depend on whether we go into a future led by somebody like Kamala Harris, who is focused on expanding the prosperity, the freedom, the well-being of our families. And by the way, especially if you have kids and you're worried about climate, choosing between a party that has a plan on climate that creates jobs and a party that still calls it a hoax, even as we went through the hottest day in world history. Or do you want your children to grow up in a country defined by a return to the chaos and recrimination and cruelty that was the hallmark of the Trump era?
Absolutely perfectly put from Pete Buttigieg, and invoking his own family story is so incredibly powerful. It is clear that Pete Buttigieg cares about his children's future. He doesn't just want to attack people for what their lifestyle is. No, that is not the Democratic Party way. Pete Buttigieg cares because he cares about the future that his kids will have, and he cares about a future that we will all have. And so that's why that devastating attack on JD Vance lands so well, not just because of what Pete is saying is true and what JD said was ridiculous, but it comes from a really personal place for Pete, and someone who also called out JD Vance because they had personal experience with the attack that he was making was actress Jennifer Aniston, who wrote this in an Instagram story. Jennifer Aniston is blasting Senator JD Vance for his resurfaced 2021 comments about women such as Vice President Kamala Harris who have not given birth. In quotes, "I truly can't believe this is coming from a potential VP of the United States," the morning show star wrote on her Instagram story on Wednesday. "All I can say is, Mr. Vance, I pray that your daughter is fortunate enough to bear children of her own one day." Aniston, who has shared her personal IVF journey in the past, continued, "I hope she will not need to turn to IDF as a second option, because you are trying to take that away from her too." Of course, these comments from JD Vance resurfacing just show how awful of a person he really is on a baseline level, and the disregard he has for anyone else who has a different lifestyle choice than him. But it's also a sad reminder that Republicans want to criticize people's families while preventing them from having the ability to have families. They want to restrict IVF. They want to make it more difficult for people to plan their families. And it's just so sad to see all of these things come together in one clip from JD Vance, this ridiculous attack. And so although it is really sad that someone who is potentially going to be the vice president, but we will not let Donald Trump and JD Vance be elected. We are going to beat them at the ballot box. But it's sad that someone who's been nominated by one of our two major parties as Donald Trump's running mate, as a potential vice president, would say these things, believe these things, and it is a reminder of what Republicans want to take away, the ways in which they want to control our lives, the ways in which they are not for freedom, and they have never been. MAGA can say that they care about freedom all they want, but it doesn't actually mean anything. Kamala Harris talks about this all the time in her speeches. You can say you're for unity, but if you're too busy talking and not acting, we know what the truth is. And Republicans can say that they care about freedom and can say that they're the party of family values, but until they act on it, we know that's not the case. And on the family values point, are you seriously telling me the party who nominated a man who was having an affair with a porn star while his wife was pregnant is the leader of the party of family values? Get out of here. I'm not buying that. I am not buying that. And someone else, again, who was not buying JD Vance and all of the lies that he has told is, we're going to circle back to him because he is so incredible, Pete Buttigieg. And he had this to say about Vance, just delivering another devastating attack on him, telling the absolute truth about JD Vance's lies. Let's check it out.
Do you think that there's someone she could pick as her vice president that would make him regret that choice?
Well, again, that's going to be her call, her process. But what I will say is that the choice of JD Vance is a regrettable choice because he's somebody who was at his most convincing and effective when he talked about how unfit for office Donald Trump is. And he has not explained any reason, other than, of course, his obvious interest in power, why he would have changed his mind on that. Remember, JD Vance's whole identity is that he is connected to Appalachia, a place that is being hurt so profoundly by the opioid crisis. So the fact that he didn't just refer to Donald Trump as an idiot, though he didn't just say all kinds of things about how he was terrible, but compared Donald Trump to opioids, that is literally the darkest, most negative thing someone connected to Appalachia could possibly say about a politician. And that was in public, right? In private, he was comparing him to Hitler, reportedly. He has yet to explain why his opinion would be any different other than his own search for power.
So when he said...
Well, we're talking about the things that JD Vance has said in the past, the resurfaced clips of him making these gross MAGA arguments and talking about these horrible MAGA policies. It's also important to remember what Donald Trump had said about him by JD Vance in 2015 and 2016. Those are the things that JD Vance, in my opinion, actually believes. I still do believe that he does think that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. I still do believe that he thinks Donald Trump is dangerous. And so it's important to remember that, not because it's an indictment of Donald Trump's character, that we can all observe that he is a flawed person, a dangerous person who should never be president, but it's an indictment on JD Vance. Because if you see that Donald Trump has no character, if you see that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, but you support him anyway to elevate your career and yourself, who are you? You're a person with no character. And that's who JD Vance is, and that is who he has revealed to us all that he is with these resurfaced comments and the things that he says every day. And so if you want to be a part of a movement calling out JD Vance, calling out MAGA, and pushing back against their movement, make sure, as always, that you hit that subscribe button, join this new channel that we're building, leave a like on this video by hitting that thumbs up. It really helps grow this channel, boost what we are doing, and it really means a lot to me. I am so grateful for all of y'all's support. And if you are a new subscriber, please let me know in the comments. I always like to scroll through, thank our new subscribers, because I am so glad that y'all are joining this movement. It really means a lot to me. And until next time, I'll see you soon.